Hey, hello, welcome back. My name is Felipe, I'm from Professional Programmer. And today the subject that I would like to talk with you is about Node.js. Yes, most probably if you are looking to the internet or anything else regarding like backend development, you heard about Node.js. And this is what we want to talk here. So if you like the video, please subscribe it and give a thumbs up. Of course, after you watch the video, but don't forget to do this and let's get started. Okay, so of course, the first thing, the first step that we should go through is how that you can install Node.js. And remember that I said to you that it was really simple, and that's what I want to show to you. Okay, here we are in the Node.js page itself. I'm accessing this from a Mac environment. And one thing that I would like to tell you, like I'm gonna show regarding the Mac environment itself, but it's all the same. Like you see that they teach you and they go along. It's really simple. So let's get started. This for me, they are showing download for Mac OS and the platform and the architecture that I'm using. But if you are accessing this website through a Windows machine or a Linux machine, the browser will identify this for you and it will tell you like, okay, download for Windows and so on. So I can just do regarding what they are proposing here. If you click like you recommend for most user, he gonna give me like a installable file that I can just download and install. But what I would like to show you, that's other options too that you can do. Like below here, you see the link called other downloads on both versions. So I would say that always go to the recommended for the most users because you are starting. And he's gonna just open this page. And if you see here, he has so many architectures that he's showing to us. So that as you can see, we can choose one of the architecture that we are using. So I'm using like a Mac OS. This is one that I'm gonna choose. And here he provides different ways of that I can install Node. So you see like it, if you just get back here, let's see Windows. Let's click here. Okay, so there's other alternative to that regarding Windows that you can do, not only that way. So just pick up the one that you think that's better for you. I'm gonna choose like Mac OS. And I'm gonna use one of this way. Actually, for me, I'm gonna use this called Brew, Homebrew, this tool itself. So the same way that we have for Mac, we have something called dependency management. I talk this in other videos, not the JavaScript itself, but other videos like for Python. But the principles, they are the same. Uh, Imagine that we have in the internet these days like so many dependencies, like this Node.js is one dependency that I can install on my machine. But I, I maybe have a different or improved way that I can handle this. And yes, people created tools that you can only use in this tool. You can choose or you can ask for, hey, please install this for me. And this will facilitate for you because you don't need to download many things, install maybe the wrong version. So this is one way of doing. Like here is curl, I'm not go deep into, but this is like a library that's embedded in the system that I can use for download. Endpoints itself, let's see that very well, or the bill. So I'm gonna choose this itself. I have others, and only for the sake of information, if you're in the Windows machine, you see that they call here alternatives and like using Chocolattery or Scope. This is other dependency management tool. Like for me, I have Homebrew, MacPort, and for you, if you use in Windows, you could use like using Chocolate. So I will advise you to maybe take a look at the internet, and if you find perhaps it's complicated, just ask me in the comments, and I can create a video for only specific for this. Okay, so let's get back here. Remember the Brew package manage. I'm gonna hit install here. Let's see, he's thinking. Okay. Yeah, for me, what's happened that when you have a homebrew and you don't like install things for too long or it even doesn't update, when I do the command to install something, you're gonna try to update homebrew. So let's just step back to the situation when we have the install happen. Okay, so now we are back. I just finished the updating because it was quite long. And we have the download here, but for me, it's saying an error. Node.js is already installed. Of course, it's not a problem. I want to show how that you can install, or how I can install at least on a Mac. For Windows will not be that different if you are not using like an installer. So this is it. Now we basically have Node.js in your machine. How you can do this? We can do just like this. Done. You see that he gave me so many information regarding Node itself. This means that Node is installed in my machine. So I can come here that when I hit on Node, I can start like typing or writing code for the Node.js framework itself to be working. Okay, so before we start, one thing that I can tell you regarding Node, how that it works in a very simple way. Like Node doesn't create everything, like he didn't create anything actually. We use the JavaScript language. So JavaScript is the language itself. There's no relation between, like they are not connected between Node and JavaScript. Okay, so they are both separate things. Like one thing that I have is the JavaScript language itself that's regarding the language, and so it's a tool that I can use to write code. And Node, what Node did, okay, so I needed to create a web service. How that I can do this? I have the JavaScript language, and I need something that will create an interpretation to respond back to as a web service itself. So they got the Chrome V8 engine. So basically, it's how the Chrome, it's in a very simple way, is how the Chrome can handle like code in a very simple way. They use both of these, so the engine is going to be responsible to create the web server for you, to do this event driving way of working that Node does. All these kinds underline, and they use the JavaScript language to be able to create the code to respond to where you want. So that's why when I type Node, what I have an environment that I can write in JavaScript that can be like compiled, is not compiled, but can be interpreted to be when you run. When I have an entry point, he identify and he can handle and do things regarding this. So that's why I have it here, just an environment that I could do like the var any test. If I do this, oh sorry, you see, it's just a JavaScript environment. So I could do any equal learning nodes. You see, it's just a place that I can start to write in JavaScript code and be interpreted itself. And if you want to just get out from here, like for each platform it's a little bit different, but it's always about shortcut. You see, when I do like the let's say Control C, I'm so automatically that sometimes I forget that I do this automatically. Control C, he just leave there. So this is it, that simple. Okay, so still there's one more thing that we should have before we can start actually, that I should talk to you, is about npm. It's exactly like this. Okay, that already give me some information, but why I type this and you didn't install this? No, actually when you install Node.js itself, you have this that will come together. Remember that why I started talk, hey, you have the package manager and you can handle for Mac one way, for Windows to another way. Here we are again. So we have another package manager that's specific for Node, so I can handle my dependencies. Because one thing that you're gonna learn, okay, when you're doing development, doesn't matter which platform, you have like a whole internet with libraries, things that people created to help you. Like for instance, we have one that's to handle our request. What is request? It's when I go to the internet and I open a website, is requesting to some machine that, okay, I want a content for this, and this is a request, and we have a library that does this for us. But imagine that we need to download, I don't know, one specific link and put in our project all the time. So it would be a little bit like too much work, I would say, like this. But this is not the way that we work. We work using this in npm. So this is a dependency management that I can either install and uninstall or fetch, kind of fetch, not fetch, any dependency that I want in the internet. So I can go to the internet, look for something. If I like, I can use in my code. So this is already there. You don't need to worry to install. So when you install for your machine Node, you're gonna have this in your machine. Okay, let's see where you are. So we can start now. Let's see. Okay, I don't have any file here in this folder. I'm gonna clean again, and I will create just one file. This file will be named app.js. Here we have the app.js. Like you can name this any way that you want, but this is a pattern. I would advise you to maintain the pattern, because when you go to the internet, you are looking for something. It will be easier because we are talking the same thing. So you can, if I created another name here, you will be confused, thinking that, okay, this is mandatory. No, this is not, because when I start the web server, because this is a file, you're only gonna kind of execute this file. I could specify, okay, use this file or that file. So let's not stick to this, and just use this pattern as you are learning. That will be better for you. Okay, now so let's try to see what we have inside this. Okay, for my development itself, I like to use the VS Code. There is many text editor that you can use, so don't stick to one, but I strongly advise take a look in the VS Code itself. If you find that, okay, where I should look at, what I should look for, it's not clear for me in the internet and so on, okay, just put a comment below here. I will read for sure, and if you find that it's needed, I will create a video for you. Like, just put your question, what you want to know, and I really want to help you. And I have here only the app.js file itself, just to show you and how simple that this can be. You don't need a text editor. I could use like a VI here and do like app.js. And yes, I could start to write anything that I want here, but we don't need this. I really recommend to you to not stay on this like a text editor and so on. Let's go directly what we want. Anything that you can edit your text. I don't recommend to use Word, of course, but you can do this. Just open the file app.js and let's get started. Okay, when we say that we would start, let's try to split this in three blocks, or three ways of thinking. Remember that we talk about dependency management, we talk about libraries, and yeah, so to start, I need to tell, hey, you're gonna handle like requests, and to handle requests, there's many libraries. I use like kind of native, but the most simple one so you can understand. So the first one that we should start is called HTTP. That's simple. You write this in your browser, so this is what you're gonna use. We have one library that's called HTTP. Okay, so now we have the HTTP. So what we are doing here in a very simple way, constant. What this does is we are declaring a variable. If you don't know about the variable is just like, imagine that I need to put my code somewhere inside my file to be reused. So I need a constant. Imagine like when you have someone has a nickname and you call that person by the nickname and you know who the person is. Okay, so the constant is the nickname for here. And for this nickname is called HTTP. Could be a variable. Of course, could be. These names, as the name say, it's a constant. It cannot be changed, the value that I will give here. But remember, I cannot change the value that I give here. I need to start with a value, but I can change the properties for this value. So, but it's a JavaScript thing. I will advise you to take a look in a very simple way. Just do this. HTTP, because the name, remember, nickname, that nicknames belong to someone. HTTP, and require. Require, it's a function. A function, it's a block of code. Imagine like this. Not exactly like this because you have blocks, but stick to this. Imagine like a box that I have some code inside there. And this is what is happening here. This require, it's a kind of a, let's call it, block of code. And inside here, we have some things happening. We'll not get into, but I'm asking for the HTTP library. So this is the first step, because we need this in order to handle the request. Web servers is only about this. Someone is asking for something, we go to the backend that's in somewhere, and the web server will handle this request and to what he should deliver. Okay, so moving forward now, we have two more variables that we should create, constants that we should create. And they are respectively like host name and port. Remember, this will be like the first part, like I said, that we are splitting. We should, use something to handle this. And this thing is called HTTP. We should look in somewhere. And where? We call the host name. And for this, you are given this address. Your machine always have like one local address. Could be like local host. It's valid. In this will be translated for this, exactly for this. So, like I said, some things it's just good to maintain the pattern for when you are learning, because if you look at the internet, you don't get like it confused. What is that? Every time that you call any website, we'll be listening like in some host name. Here we are seeing our local host name, and you need a port, and this port will be 8. You can put any number here, like really, you can do this. As soon when I call the host name, I set this port, then it will be done automatically. But one thing that your browser does for you, like when you call a host name that you don't specify the port, will be automatically go through the 80 port. Okay, so in theory, we would have like the start points. I can get my library, I can set a name, I can set a port. And now we need to add the code that will handle this request for us. So it's the second part that we call like this. And this is the code. So, okay, so we are create another constant here again. And this constant is called server. Remember what constant is? How I give a name to something. And now we're gonna start using things like it. We start to use like HTTP. Remember here, up there, this will give a value for HTTP. It's simple this. So I go to the HTTP, and this variable, imagine this block, now has other functions that I got from here. I just come here, hey, give me everything that you have on HTTP, and given a reference, like at least my nickname is HTTP. And for HTTP, we have other things that we can use now. And one of these things is called create server. And in this create server, basically, I have like a block of code that we receive this rack and resource. Okay, so this is a shortcut that people usually use it. Like it would be like, let's see here, request and resource. That simple. We could like even like this, so we can be easily see what is happening. And here we have other things like these are constant, or we call variable. There's difference, but for now, let's just stay like this name so you're learning. And resource. So what we are seeing here, resource, the variables. You see that the same way that we did here, like, hey, give me everything that has here, and now I start accessing this. I can do here too. I can access not only like we call this function, but as variables too. So this is status code. Is status code like when you call a web browser, something in the web browser, that gives you a response. It's the data that you see the website and the status for that. Because not how that you differentiate like what is an error beside visual way. You can give like some code back and so who is seeing that, the browser or in API, you understand, okay, this is it because this status code. If I put here 400, it's a failure. It's a universal code for failure. Like you can go to the internet and see like web development status code, and you see that there's a list and everyone uses the same pattern. Like this is not something that you basically you change, but you should use your own. Of course, I can give this number. Yeah, but unless my other developer knows what is happening and that I thought about this code, no one will understand about this. Here, there's one more thing, like it's not that useful for us right now, but I like to let this here. Like when you do, you're gonna learn that when you do like a request, there's many things that happen together. Like I said, when you request, we can have like a stats code back. Basically, you're not seeing this, but this is there if someone wants to use, or even your browser is using this. But we have another resource called header. Like how remember that when I went into the website for the Node.js and he knew that, okay, you are a Mac OS machine, so let's show the content. This is this. There's other keys, let's call it keys, that can tell, hey, this is a Mac OS machine. And inside the code, they are handle this and say, okay, this is a Mac OS. Just show directly this link to the Mac OS download and not for Windows. And this happens all the time. So when you are doing a request in your browser is telling to the backend who he are. And here's the end. So this is what's gonna tell like for your browser, hey, give back this. Of course, when you're creating a website, it will be like a huge page of all other things that will be answer to your user that is accessing this. But this is the simple way that you can do it. You can just return a string. Okay, so this is the second step. So if you see here, we are creating another tool that you say, okay, anything that's about to request, this part that will be responsible to handle this. So you come here, and everything that should be responded and something like this should be handled here. Okay, so now how that we make all these things connected together in a way that the browser will be listened. That's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so now we have the third part that I mentioned to you. Remember, first, hey, this is what I want as library to use for myself. And here what I'm gonna listen to, I'm gonna use this port. The second one, okay, so when someone requests this is what I want to handle. So always give this answer. I don't have any evaluation. Okay, if come from this, no, just always respond this. Using this, and now I need to call, like, remember again, we created here another variable, another constant that is just receiving everything that's from this. Okay, this you give back other functionalities, other things that I can ask for, and this is one of these things that's called a listen. It does exactly what the name says. Like I need to listen, and to what and where. Okay, you need to listen in this port. And even VS Code is giving this shortcut, this tip there for port 80, because what I declare, the host name that I'm listening to is the same that I declared there. And here I have a block of code that will just run, and the output from this will be like console.log. This is a function from the JavaScript that I can use, so I don't need to import. It's always there. That's called console. It will be your console log. Imagine like a print, and I will just say this: server running at port, hostname and port. And why I did this, so we know that this is happening. Done. We have a web server still running. Basically, like we finish this, we can just save this file and we can build and run. Let's see it. Okay, so I didn't close my file behind, so I just opened my terminal. So you just need to go to our terminal and do it like this. We are in the same folder like that. We have our app.js saved. We got Node and the name of the file that we want to run. That simple. Let's hit enter. Okay, so we have a failure here. Actually, it's my mistake itself. And the thing is that when I'm running, I cannot use the port 80. Like this will be using your server, because your server you configure everything. Okay, listen to this, but my machine itself, it's already like it kind of using this, so I cannot use this right now. So we're gonna add another port here into 3000. Okay, so let's do this again. Oh, node app.js. Yay! Okay, so we have the server running in the where and in the specific part that you want. So let's take a look now in the web browser itself. So here you are. I just opened a new tab, and let's see like this 1, 2, 7. Here I was doing like a lot of Python things, and usually we use the 5000, 3000. Okay, so let's see what is happening. you know, that is good. This is a kind of intention. You see here that he's complaining, hey, what is this resource dot code 200? Like, I don't have any idea. You see that what he did, he just, okay, we came here to the listen, he heard something, okay, so who handles this? It's this guy. And he came here and started to look at the code itself to understand, okay, what is happening? But remember that we changed the names here, but it didn't change here. So where this come from? This come from exactly from here. Let's just update this, this, and this. We have now back our server because he just failed, so I don't know where, but it's good. He just told us line 14, and this is very good for you when you learn, so you can read and understand, okay, where's the problem? Let's start again. Okay, we have a server up and running. Let's get back here and refresh. Done. We have our server up and running, and you just created, like, it's just a few lines. If you just remove all these like comments, because I like to put this kind of comments, you could have created your server like I don't know, if it was without the explanation, 2 minutes. That's it. Like, it's that simple. And this is how you can easily create a Node.js server. This is only start point, and from here you have much more that you can do, but this is the basic. Now you understand that we need to import something that's handled for your library. You understand that, hey, you need to tell where you're gonna listen to that. You understand that, okay, block of code that will be handled this, and that's our create server. And we have another one that say, hey, okay, now that you created, where I should listen for, and this is how you can do. Okay, so but what I did is say, okay, I cannot create my web service now because I only have like one point. How can I differentiate it if I come here like, okay, like comments? The double is the same in the comments, but I want to show another thing, and this we can do. Okay, we have this content now that we know that we always can respond and use the same resource. Like here we are only answer say like hello world, but we want to make some difference. Like I want to maybe use the comments about, and I give back a different resource, and we can do this. This basically say end, and to finish respond with this string. Let's just remove this and let's do like this. I'm using the console log, that's the way of printing. I'm printing like requested URL. And why I'm doing this? Because I want to see in my log if I'm requesting the right page, like I can confirmation from there. Okay, comments. Okay, I can see this in my terminal. And I'm doing some evaluations here, like if the request dot URL equal comments, you get the resource and ends with the comments page, not the hello world. Otherwise, if you request will go about, we return as about page and not hello world. And if nothing matches, like if not is equal when I compare, just return hello world. I have something running here already. Node.js. Okay, it's running. This is our page. Let's see if it's still working. Reload. Okay, it's working. Let's see if we can see comments now. We just erase it, the port. It's mandatory. Comments page. Perfect, fine. Let's see our logs here. Oh, okay, so the fav icon is something that you can learn about the web development itself, not only web development, but it's the icon that you see in the browser, like it's small icon that you see in the top left. This is the fav icon. He's just responded this, he does, because he's being requested. Everything that's being requested, he's gonna print here regarding the URL and have comments. So we did right. Let's try again, but now with about. Yep, we have the about page, so it's working. And if you see here, we call about, so all the comments, all the abouts, this just worked. That was this simple. So this is what I wanted to show you, like in just a few lines of code. You could have like your own web server up and running. Of course, this is a very basic one. We are not to use like return the HTML page. That's what it should be done. But you can have like an introduction to do the questions and understand yourself how easy, how simple it is to have a web service. Actually, this is not the only thing that you have. There's other way of doing. Actually, in these days, when you regard the Node, like this is the library that is handled the request, HTTP, but it's not that powerful. We have other ones, and the ones the most used is called Express. You give more abilities to do and to handle everything that you want regarding the web server. So I do recommend it. I will gonna make a video regarding this. I have an upcoming videos regarding how to create like a web service and use an Express, so you easily can create more functionalities. For instance, like when you have like a form or you want to send an email, I want to send something to the web service. And how do I do this? There's a name for this, it's called post. So I'm posting something to the web service. And here what we are doing, we are only getting, you're just getting information from the web service. So this is where we're gonna move forward. So there will be the searches for other videos, and I hope that you like it. And it's a very simple and very small introduction, but I'm pretty sure that now you have a better understanding how that like a web service is started, how Node.js can really facilitate this for you, and how simple now you can just improve this code itself. I would advise you create other endpoints here, do other comparisons, add other things, and then see the things breaking. Like it's good. Like I show you that error happened, it was good. So you understand that Node will give you nice feedback. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This will help me in support. I want to do more content and continue doing even more. I hope that you have enjoyed. Give a thumbs up for me and like it, and see you in the next video.